Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of the Sunrise Simulator Alarm Clock project. This is the final part of it, in which I build this little 3D printed box for it and put everything into it. So you don't really need the 3D printed box, you could just use a normal project enclosure, but I happen to have a 3D printer, so why not just print a box out. So anyway, let's get to it. Alright, so this is a part straight off the printer. Didn't really turn out that great. There's a couple cracks in here, like in that area and right there. So I'm gonna see what I can do with a bit of acetone. I'll probably put some weight on this and maybe try to get it to stick back together, but I guess the gaps aren't really that big, but there's a definite crack in there, so I'll see what I can do about it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and let that dry, and hopefully it's not completely glued to the table when I get back. But anyway, we'll see what that does. Alright, so still not the greatest. You can still see the cracks in here, but I at least don't think it's going to fall apart too easy at this point. So I'm going to have to finish the acetone smoothing process on this and start installing everything into it. Alright, so here's the new part. It's all acetone smooth. The cracks are close enough to being fixed. Just wanted to compare it to the old one here. It's not actually all that much bigger, but should be plenty of room to house that circuit board and the extra switch that we're adding with this. So anyhow, this is the new piece that's going to go in here. Same switch will still go on the top here. After I get it wired. But anyhow, this is going to fit in here. Hopefully something like that. Yeah, that should fit fine actually. And should also have some room in here to shove some old cell phone batteries in here or something to do battery backup. But again, that's for another video on this. But anyway, let's go ahead and stick everything in here. I think it turned out okay in general. This one doesn't have the split parts to it, and I don't really know why. This one was a little thicker, maybe that's why, but I think this one I printed at 800 7-inch thickness. This one I printed at 700 7-inch thickness. But yeah, it did get that splitting, so I don't really know. I need to probably adjust some stuff with that printer. But anyhow, I'm going to start installing all this stuff, and we'll see what we get here. Alright, so here we are. I've got the switch wired in here. I just wanted to show you how that was done. I have ground being turned on and off the switch now, so basically what I have here is ground going into the center contacts again, just straight ground, just how it was, and then the switch grounds go off to the light there. But I've added these diodes in here, and the reason why I put diodes on that is so I still have individual control over the two separate sections of lighting in here. So I put those in there to keep so that they both turn on when the alarm starts going off, but when these switches are individually set up, they can be well, everything can be independently turned on. So that's how that's set up. And this black wire goes back over to the MOSFET on the control board, and this one will get hooked up to the positive input power. So anyhow, I'm gonna get this stuck in here and get this hooked up, and we will see if this thing actually still works. Alright, so I've got it put in a case here. Go ahead and see if this will actually work. So first off, if I turn on the, let me turn the camcorder's light off here. If I turn this one on, I get just this little area. So these outer lights don't turn on. Sorry for the mess, it's kind of getting piled up here, but if I turn this one on, that should turn on. And I should be able to turn this one off and still have that one on, so that's alright. If I turn the little switch on here, that enables the sunrise alarm thing. Then if I go and pretend to set the alarm off. There we go. You see it start brightening up back here. And it should also brighten up in here. It looks like it's doing that as well. And also this has the advantage of still being able to turn on individual sets of lights, even with that little bit of a extra boost going on into it. So you don't have to completely turn it off. You see this one's still really dim. And if I turn that one on too, it'll actually brighten up a lot more. So you can kind of see the difference there. But anyway, if I turn this light back off again, it'll shut it off completely. So last thing I need to do is this switch is kind of loose in here. The little mounting tabs that are supposed to hold it in actually broke off from the last time when I tried to take it out of that other box that it was in before. But anyway, I'll have to glue that in, and I'll have to glue in this circuit board here, and then that'll be it. Alright, so this is basically the finished product, except for maybe some hot glue cleanup on the top. But anyhow, I still got the same two switch control that I've already shown. So I've got the lower lights and then the upper lights on that other switch. So I can control those independently still. Then this switch over here, if I push that forward, that enables the sunrise alarm feature thing, I guess is what we're gonna call this. But anyway, we can turn that off as well, of course. Here's where the or how the circuit board fit into here. That works fairly well. It's just glued in, hot glued in, and then I've glued the wires in this little slot too, just to keep them from escaping from that. But that works fairly well. I've still got the 12 volts coming in over here. I thought about mounting this, or I was going to mount this into the box, but I actually forgot to do that, and I'm actually kind of glad I did, because there isn't really that much room for that to be sticking out inside of it. So it doesn't really matter. It just kind of plugs into the little barrel jack in here. But then of course I got this little 2S LiPo balance lead coming over here, and that goes into the alarm clock, which I showed how I did that in part 1. But so anyhow, final test is I've already shown these come on, as well as the ones up there, so all that's still working just fine. So we'll go ahead and turn this switch on, and it'll turn the camera's light off, and we will simulate the alarm going off. Now, as I think I mentioned before, the reason why I wanted to go with using the backlight of the LCD as the sensing point is because of the way that the alarm goes off on this thing. It slowly ramps up, and it's the loudness of it. It may have actually been easier to do that still versus the backlight, because I ended up having to put the LM7805 inside of this instead of just using the 5-volt line coming off of the alarm clock. But it still works out okay, and that seems to be a really reliable way of detecting it, whether that backlight's brightened up or not. But anyhow, as you can see, this is starting to get brighter up underneath here, and you can see it on my hand there, and then the back side. So it should take about 9 minutes for that to get to full brightness. So anyway, it'll take a while. But let's see. I probably, if I would have done this again, I might have just done it with the speaker, coming off the speaker. It probably would have been easier, honestly. I would have had to have a few extra parts on that, though. I would have had to have like a diode and a capacitor is probably about all, but diode, capacitor, and a resistor, I would say, just to so I can actually measure the voltage coming off the speaker and get the microcontroller to detect that. But either way, it works just fine. So anyhow, that's about it for now, guys. As you can see, it's starting to get brighter. It'll take it quite a while for it to actually get to full brightness, but that's about it for now, guys. Bye.